Good morning and welcome to Kush News. I'm your anchor, Ochanda. We will be talking about the top stories going on in the African and the Caribbean diaspora. Once again, welcome to Kush News. I am your anchor, Ochanda. Let's get into the top stories. Current Nigerian President Buhari asked Nigerians abroad to support Tinubu's government. President Muhammadu Buhari Tuesday in Doha, Qatar, called on Nigerians living in the country to support President-elect Bola Tinubu as he takes over the reins of government on May 29, 2023. Speaking at a town hall meeting as part of his visit to the state of Qatar, President Buhari said that his administration is set forward to in place credible, transparent, and fair elections, which will conclude on March 11th with the governorship and state assembly elections. He therefore called on them to, quote unquote, support the incoming government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu so that Nigeria will continue to be the beacon of hope and prosperity in the continent and an example for other African countries to emulate. Speaking further, President Buhari acknowledged the noble roles that Nigerians in the diaspora all over the world have been playing in the development of Nigeria, adding that his administration had approved a national diaspora policy and supported the Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission, all the way to develop programs for the engagement of Nigerians in the diaspora for the ambassadors to contribute their quota towards the development of their fatherland. In his remarks, the Nigerian ambassador to the state of Qatar, Yakubu Ahmed, congratulated Mr. Buhari on conducting a successful presidential and National Assembly elections on February 25th, 2023. He said the process has proven that Nigeria's democracy is indeed strong while praying for equally successful governorship and state assembly elections. Again, to the citizens of Nigeria, congratulations on the president-elect, Tinubu. Moving forward. If you have any remarks as well, comment below on the elections. What's your thoughts, feelings on the new president-elect of Nigeria? The Angolan Attorney General's office has reportedly opened an investigation against the country's ambassador to Kenya, according to the media source, The East African. The report says that Ambassador Sianga Abilio is facing a financial and assets investigation case, which is being dealt with by the National Assets Recovery Service of Angola. It claims a letter by the National Assets Recovery Service was leaked, where it requested information on properties registered to Ambassador Abilio. The radio station didn't disclose any further details. We'll keep you locked in here at Kush News. If you're from Angola or if you have any remarks, let us know in the comments below as always. All right, and in Kenya, Raila Odinga plans mass protests as President Ruto ignores demands. The 14-day ultimatum given by Azimio leader Raila Odinga to the government to address certain issues, including the restoration of food subsidies and a reduction in taxes, lapses Wednesday at midnight. The sticky issue of the high cost of living is another demand that Odinga has been very vocal about and wants the government to provide tangible solutions on how it would address it. Odinga had threatened to lead nationwide protests should the government fail to meet their demands within the stipulated period. On Thursday, Odinga will make an announcement on the planned mass action if President William Ruto fails to address the Azimio coalition issues. Quote unquote, if the government fails to address these demands, we shall take action, end quote. He said during a prayer meeting at the Vanji Gardens. The opening of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC servers, was another demand by Odinga. The opposition leader has sustained that allegation had sustained his allegations that the IEBC stole his presidential victory in August of 2022. In a swift rejoinder, however, President Ruto told off Odinga on his claim, stressing that elections were past Kenyans. Odinga also demanded a halt in the ongoing recruitment exercise of the new members in the electoral body. Already, the selection panel overseeing the exercise has advertised vacancies in the commission and advertised one position for the chairperson and other 5 members. For anybody in Kenya, let us know your thoughts. Anybody with any comments at all on the controversies surrounding, let us know in the comments below. We go to Uganda. The need for night economy in Uganda. In cities around the world, the night economy, businesses operating and selling at night, is one of the uncelebrated avenues generating incomes and opportunities, particularly for small capital entrepreneurs. As the world emerges from the COVID-19 crisis, cities need to seek more alternatives on how to implement a night economy as part of a broader strategy to create more space for opportunities during the night hours. In Uganda, particularly in Kampala City, the night economy has not yet embraced that it would provide a remedy to a large population of unemployed youths, the evicted street and market vendors. Like bars, nightclubs, and outdoor musical performances, entertainment activities in general, and supermarkets, along streets, businesses thrive well and provide a remedy to several challenges associated with unemployment. With the current economic situation in Uganda, where food prices and overall cost of living are high, and the crime rate such as robbery, pickpocketing, drug abuse is especially high among youth and worsening. The Kampala City Authority is in the process and has stated that will boost local tourism due to the attractiveness that it brings. Kampala has a population of over 3.5 million people operating in the city center, including the neighboring villages. This population is growing at a high rate due to the influx of people from different corners of the country flocking to the city for greener pastures. However, most of them come up with little to no startup capital that can enable them to afford rent on a shop on the Kampala arcades, and thus pushing them onto the streets and public market centers. Unfortunately, these markets can hardly accommodate such a growing population, rendering them unemployed. In subsequent years, 2022 and 2023, cases of brutal eviction of street vendors by the KCCA enforcement teams continue to exist. Having a night economy could therefore provide a solution to a big number of vendors who could hardly trace space neither in the selected daily markets nor along the streets to operate from during the day. This implementation with proper management and provision of security to ensure a peaceful business environment free from theft, congestion, and with proper hygiene that aims at maintaining a clean city, and all this should be done to promote economic freedom in Uganda. For our Ugandans, both in Uganda and in the diaspora, let us know in the comments below on your thoughts on the need for a night economy in Uganda. This week also marks Independence Day for the country of Ghana. The country of Ghana marked its Independence Day. So for all our Ghanaian followers and listeners, happy Independence Day. Let's continue here. If you're from Ghana, drop, comment, let us know, drop a flag. All right, and we go to Central Africa. M23 rebels clash with Democratic Republic Congo troops despite regional ceasefire. According to aid workers, fighting erupted on Monday, March 6th, in the North Kivu province, where the M23 has captured swaths of territory since resuming activity in late 2021. On Tuesday morning, rebels and troops were still involved in clashes despite a ceasefire brokered by Angola. that was due to start at noon. A security official for the Democratic Republic of Congo stated, quote unquote, the fighting continues. Lieutenant Colonel Injatike, the Army spokesperson for North Kivu, said late Monday that M23 and their sponsors from the Rwanda Defense Force had attacked a recently deployed Burundian contingent of an East African regional military force. The DRC accuses Rwanda of backing the M23 rebels, who have displaced over 500,000 people and are edging closer to the city of Goma, a trade hub. UN experts, the United States, as well as several other Western countries, agree with the assessment, although Rwanda denies it. The seven-nation East African community decided to create a military force to stabilize eastern Congo last year, with the first troops arriving in Goma in November of 2022. On March 3rd, the Angolan presidency, which is mediating the conflict, announced a ceasefire for eastern DRC, due to take effect at noon yesterday. The announcement followed several other failed regional peace initiatives. Both sides accused the other of triggering the fresh round of clashes. M23 spokesperson Willy Ngoma told the French press agency AFP on Tuesday that the group was defending itself after the regular army attacked of all the group's positions simultaneously. For our Rwandan and Congolese fans out there, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on what has been happening. All right, let's take it to South Africa a little bit. By the way, drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. I want to hear from you. Again, this is Kush News, and I'm Ochanda, providing you with Kush News. That's top stories from Africa and the Caribbean. Once again, this is Kush News, and I'm Ochanda, providing the top stories for Africa and the Caribbean. All right, let's take it to Southern Africa and Zimbabwe. White Zimbabwe farmers reject a $3.5 billion deal. White Zimbabwe farmers living in the Southern African region have rejected Zimbabwe's offer to settle a $3.5 billion land compensation deal over 10 years. The amended agreement, which was signed back in 2020 with the farmers who had been removed from their properties more than 20 years ago. The farmers say that they will be stepping up pressure against the Zimbabwean government by demanding the return of their farms to them. The issue of land ownership has always been a highly emotive one. White farmers in Zimbabwe say they have a tangible claim and that the $3.5 billion deal is a quote-unquote slap in the face. Quote-unquote, there is nothing to hide here for the farmers. They want to put their case. When this global compensation deed was signed, one of the issues was a few hundred farmers destitute, and we have nothing. And they don't know how they will afford their medical bills at the end of the month. The Zimbabwean government gave us a few dollars each month, but it's not enough. And we never know when they will pay us. And if we don't accept their new deals, the government would stop paying us, said the chairperson for the Southern African Agricultural Initiative, Dr. Theo de Jager. They said they want fair compensation for their land and have to be turned to the South African courts to put pressure on the Zimbabwean government. On the ground, some Zimbabweans living in South Africa say that they would welcome the white farmers back because they have created job opportunities for them. One Zimbabwean saying, quote unquote, because people from Zimbabwe are stuck in getting jobs, there are no jobs. Maybe the farmers can get the money and we can get back our jobs. The white farmers should be compensated because they upgrade them and build dams and they invested money. Even though it is our land, those were past injustices. These farmers say that their land claim is worth more than $10 billion, not $3.5 billion. And that the only way to get compensation is by putting political pressure on the Zimbabwean government to amend its land policies. Wow. Let us know if you're in Zimbabwe, from Zimbabwe, your thoughts, feelings. Also, if you're from Zimbabwe, drop us off a comment. And let's go and end it with our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. Clive Lewis calls for the United Kingdom to negotiate Caribbean slavery reparations. The Labour Minister of Parliament, Clive Lewis, has called on Rishi Sunak to enter negotiations with Caribbean leaders on paying reparations for Britain's role in slavery following the historic announcements by the Trevelyan family. Speaking at a parliamentary debate on promotion for financial security in the Caribbean, Lewis said that the issue of reparations could not be dismissed as an obsession among a small group of quote-unquote so-called woke extremists. Wow. He pointed to the recent announcements by the Trevelyans, an aristocratic British family who made history by traveling to the Caribbean to publicly apologize for the ownership of more than 1,000 enslaved Africans and committed to paying reparations. Quote unquote, they did what no British government has done before. Mr. Lewis also stated they apologized for their ancestors' part in the exploitation of the 1,000 slaves they owned on 6 different plantations, he said. They acknowledge the financial and cultural advantage that this has generated for them and urge the British government, as I will today, to enter into a meaningful negotiations with the government of the Caribbean nations in order to make appropriate reparations. Lewis added that the announcements by the family had opened the door of this debate just a little bit wider. Lewis went on to liken the relationship between the UK and the Commonwealth to an abusive relationship in which one partner has endured, quote unquote, 400 years of the most hideous abuse, one who now seeks not charity, but restitution. He added, this country will not be able to move on to a cohesive whole until these issues are resolved. During the debate, the Conservative Minister of Parliament for Britain, we'll call him Daniel K., questioned whether reparations were the best way forward. Daniel K., Conservative Minister of Parliament, stated, quote unquote, I think all members of this House will now be incentivized and motivated to ensure that there is the greatest flow of capital to our allies and the Caribbean. But would he not agree with me that more than importantly than reparations is giving the Caribbean states active tariff-free access to the United Kingdom, the world's 5th largest economy, rather than the racket that they have experienced from the European Union, and inherently tried to restrict the flow of goods from the Caribbean to the European Union? MPK also stated that one of these reasons he campaigned for Brexit was the exclusion of Commonwealth citizens from freedom of movement. In response, Lewis said that I think we can have both a fair immigration system in this country, which we don't have at the moment, and we can also have justice for the Caribbeans. The two are not controversial and they're not incompatible. Among the other handful of MPs at the debate was the Labour Party's Nadia Whitcomb, who spoke in support of Lewis. If you are in the Caribbean, if you are fans of the Caribbean, let us know your thoughts and feelings. For Kush News, again, this will be news provided to you guys daily going on in the Caribbean and the continent of Africa. I am Ochanda with Kush News. Good night or good morning.